This is episode 338 of the Beyond the Food Show, and today we're going to talk about the potential next step in your personal journey of undieting your life. Stay tuned. Welcome to the Going to Beyond the Food Show, the only podcast that teaches you how to reshape your mind, not your body, to make your life better, bigger, and bolder. Your undieted life. I'm your host, Stephanie Dodier, reformed dieter, nutritionist, and coach. You ready? Let's do this. Hello, my sisters, and welcome back to the podcast. On a quick note, today is October the 25th, and over the weekend, something really magical happened. We celebrated, or we didn't celebrate yet, but we discovered that we have 1 million download of this podcast. The Going to Beyond the Food Show has been listened more than 1 million times. As we're recording this, it's probably 1,005,000 downloads. It's just blowing my mind. I started this podcast 5 years ago, and who I was 5 years ago, and the kind of podcaster that I was 5 years ago, I never for a lifetime believe that I would be here today in the version of myself celebrating 1 million downloads. And this is in part a collaboration between all of you listening to this podcast, my team producing the podcast, and me creating the content for the podcast. So to all of us listening, editing, producing, doing the show note, to me creating the content for this podcast, congratulations. And we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. I don't know for how long. I can't commit to another 5 years, but we're going to keep going, and we're going to keep sharing this message of undieting our life and the power and the amazingness that can happen in our life when we claim back our power over food, over our body, over our health, and most important, over our own mind. And that's the purpose of this podcast. And I've illustrated this process of undieting our life through my own journey. And it's been so therapeutic for me to share this journey with you. I was just talking with someone on Friday night, a person that I'm co-living with in Morocco. If you're watching this on a video recording, you're seeing that the background is different. And for those who are listening on the podcast, I am in Morocco. I'm in my room that I'm co-living with 15 other people that are digital nomad like me, who are in Morocco with me. And I had dinner with one of the women that I'm sharing the space with, and I was sharing with her. She was sharing with me on how she's having a difficulty accepting what's happening into her life. And I realized in that moment that a great part of my healing has been this podcast, has been social media, where I have been able to share my journey with you. And we're going to, over the next few weeks on the podcast, we're going to share some of those greatest hits episodes where I shared how my journey was going in undieting my life. And I'm going to take you back to like 4 years ago and 3 years ago. It's going to be a series of 5 or 6 greatest hits. And I'm going to take you back to different versions of Stephanie, who was creating the Undiet Your Life coaching program, who was creating the Going to Beyond the Food method, and all that through my journey. So I said that I was grateful for all of you listening to this podcast, but I'm also grateful for you being in my life, listening to me sharing my story with you. And I want you to know that you listening has been part of my own healing journey. And you've been part of creating this better, bolder, fuller life that I'm living right now here in Morocco, co-living and traveling, which was my dream. And I'm going to wrap this up so we can move on to taking the next step for you. But I want to say this, that is the next step of undieting your life, is you living your better, bigger, fuller life, whatever that means for you. For me, it's traveling and discovering cultures, a new country. For you could be to get married, to have children, to start your own business, to get the next step into your career, to go back to school, to become a coach. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Maybe that is your bigger, bolder, and fuller life. It's going to look different for all of us, but the key is for us to access this next phase of our life, our dream life, our goal life. We need to release the shackle of diet culture. We're not going to access this dream, this goal life that we have, dragging the shackle, the weight of diet culture, of us hating our body, of us being obsessed with our health. That is not going to happen. That best life is not going to happen with that bullet. So that's the first step, is releasing diet culture in our own life in order for us to have the space, the resources, the time, the energy to then work on our dream, because it's going to require work. And that dream, that next step, is what we're going to talk about today. So let's talk about that next step, what it can be for some of you. Releasing on diet culture, I have a lot of tools that are available to you in order for you to facilitate this process of undieting your life. And I just want to recap them. We have here the podcast, so it's a free tool that I have available where I teach you all the things intuitive eating, body image, and mindset. And it's my attempt, honestly, to make the Going to Beyond the Food method accessible to the world. And then the next step, which many of you have taken, is the Undiet Your Life coaching program, where we take what we learn on the podcast, what I talk about, and we actually apply it. Because there's a difference between knowing something intellectually and embodying it. And that's what Undiet Your Life coaching program does. It moves the concept you're learning from the podcast into your body, into actual concrete action in your life. These are online classes. Everything that I've ever created as far as programming, classes, and webinar, all of it is accessible for you. And it's accessible. It's $777 a year, which is accessible to a great majority of people listening to this podcast. And then there's some people who want more. Maybe that's you. Many people get such an amazing level of transformation from an Undiet Your Life coaching program. They use the tool of coaching and all the other tools I'm giving you. They free their relationship to food and body and health, and then they want more. And that's the next step we're going to talk about today. It's the non-diet mentorship program, where you learn to take these tools and we deep dive into the science, into the process of teaching these tools to other people. There's a great quote that I shared in an email recently, and the quote is from Yogi Bhajan, and I'm going to read it to you here. If you want to learn something, read about it. If you want to understand something, do it. If you want to master something, teach it. In order to really understand a concept, a principle, Knowing it is not enough. You have to grasp it from every direction. You have to be able to explain it to other in a simple way. And many people tell me this is my gift. Me, Stephanie, I take complex processes, psychology, tactic, and I make it simple. Do you know why I'm able to do that? Not because I just read it in a book, because I've read it in a book, because I took that concept. There's a pile of work that comes before me even sharing anything with you. I read about it, then I take it, and I apply it in my life. And then, once I've mastered it in my own life, then I create a teaching on it. That it is a webinar, that it is a podcast episode, that it is an online class with my Undiet Your Life student. I then go and create a curriculum to teach it to other people. It forces me to take something really complex and deliver it to you in a very simple and easy way. That's how we master something in our life. And that's what the Non-Diet Mentorship Program is about, mastering the process of undieting our life through my methodology called Going Beyond the Food Method. The Non-Diet Mentorship Program is a 6-month program where we teach you how to coach other people, which require you mastering coaching in your own life. And that's what we spend the first 6 weeks doing, is mastering coaching, not just learning coaching. We learn it and then we master it. So you can then teach it to your loved one, to people in your life, to your future client, to people at work. You can then teach it and coach other people. And then we take that, what I call the Undiet Your Coaching protocol, our methodology for coaching, and then we apply it to intuitive eating. How do we help other people embody the 10 principles of intuitive eating? And then we move on to body image, right? I have a 5-step process to become body neutral that I created. How do we coach other people to become body neutral? That's what the Non-Diet Mentorship Program is about. And then we also have a track to learn to create a business. How do we apply coaching to creating and building a business? Now, I said at the beginning that next step is not for everyone. There's many of you that have transformed at such a high level and you're fully content with the transformation you had with food and body image, and you've applied coaching to the rest of your life and you're just cruising and creating your bigger life from that part. But some of you have that urge. You have that urge of sharing the transformation that has happened in your life because you stopped dieting. You have experienced the transformation. You've experienced embodying what is possible when you release the shackle of diet culture in your life, and you want to share that with other people. You want to make a difference in other people's life. You have this yearning inside of you to impact other people's life, but you just don't know how. This is what I'm going to propose to you, the how today. I'm hosting a 5-day live event, November the 7th to the 11th. I'm just checking my brain to make sure I'm saying the right date. November the 7th and the 11th, 2022. If you're listening to this and recording, the event may have passed, but if you're live with me here, it's happening over the next couple of weeks. And that live event is called Becoming a Non-Diet Coach Week. We're going to spend 5 days together. It's $47 for 5 hours with me live. So we're going to be live on Zoom, and I'm going to be doing 2 things. Every day, I am going to be teaching you how to take Undiet Your Life coaching tools to the next level. And then we're going to coach for the half hour remaining of every day. So 30 minutes of learning, 30 minutes of coaching, where I coach you and all the other people that are going to be live with us on how to apply these coaching tools at the next level. And this is for the people who want to take it to the next level. It may not mean that you're ready to leave your current job and start a coaching business tomorrow morning. This may be the Become a Non-Diet Coach training week, the first step into your life, bringing your dream to reality. This is your first step, is committing to those 5 days of training where you get to discover how to take those tools to the next level. And it could also be for any of you that have been listening to me, because there's a large number of you listening to me that are health professionals, but you're not a coach yet. And you want to kind of dab your toes into what it could look like for you to take your current health practice to a coaching model. That's for you as well. And for those of you who are there, that's also working on your dream, right? You know that what you're doing right now, it's working, but it's not working too much. There's some holes in the way you're currently working with people. And you want to say, what could it look like if I take it to a coaching model, my practice? That would be for you as well. Either way, it's about learning what it takes to become a coach. And we're going to spend 5 days discovering that together. Let me quickly walk you through the agenda for those 5 days. Day one, we're going in with a bang. We're going to learn how to coach the non-diet approach. I'm going to share with you the Undiet coaching protocol. We're going to learn the 3-step to coach your client through food, body image, health, and anything else. You're going to see why the coaching model that we teach our professional student can allow them to coach through anything. Because here's the secret between you and me. Coaching the non-diet approach is really life coaching. Why? Because the reason why we have challenges with food and body image is not because of food or body image. It's because of our other aspect of life that we're lacking skills in. Example, we're lacking the skill of processing our emotion. So we anchor into food as a way of numbing our emotion instead of processing them. And then we call that emotional eating. Well, it's not emotional eating. It's just that we're lacking the human skill set of processing our emotion, and we're using the next best thing, which is food, in order to calm these overwhelming emotions that we're experiencing. That's why I say the secret is it's life coaching. We're teaching our client, for those of you that are inside of Undiet Your Life program, you know this. I'm teaching the basic human skill of how to be a human, and that is what creates the normalization of the relationship to food and body image and health. Not because I teach you some secret about food or about body image. I teach you how to be a human, and that regulates food and body image. So that's what we're going to do on day one. Day two, we're going to talk about how to make money as a coach. Because the reality is, for 99% of you listening to this podcast, you need to make money, right? It's not like you can quit your job tomorrow morning and be able to live off your saving. So if you want to help other people in the future or right now, you need to know how to make money as a coach. And I'm going to teach you why it is so important that we charge money to people who want to take their journey coaching with us and want to talk about selling with integrity. I have a very specific, gentle approach to business that I teach to all my professional students. And we're going to talk about that and how that very particular approach to business creates integrity and make selling easeful and pleasurable. Day 3, we're going to talk about how to use our lived experience to help other people. We're going to talk about holding space. We're going to talk about creating safety. We're going to talk about imposter coach syndrome. And we're going to talk about the most important part of helping anyone else, of coaching anyone else, which is probably not what you expect, but your relationship to yourself. How you relate to yourself will create the coaching environment that you will have with your clients or the people you're helping. Day 4, we're going to talk about all the non-diet coaching tool I have in my methodology and into my program. I'm going to go through all of them, and I'm going to tell you how to use them as a coach to help other people. And day 5, we're going to talk about how to train to become a non-diet coach, and we're going to have an open Q&A on how you can join the non-diet mentorship program. So that's going to be the 5 days. First 30 minutes teaching. You're going to get a worksheet every day of the different concepts we're going to talk about. And then 30 minutes of coaching where people are going to come on live. I'm going to answer a question and I'm going to coach you using the Undiet coaching protocol. Now, I have to be honest, this is the first and only event in our industry specifically designed for people who want to take the next step in the non-diet approach. It does require an investment. It's $47. I'm going to teach you why it's important to charge money to people and why it's also important to make your product accessible. $47 is accessible to vast majority of people who want to take the next step. And it is the best investment you can make. It is the best investment you can make for yourself. One of the things that we need to master in order to create our dream life, our better, bigger, and fuller life is this concept of betting on ourselves. If you don't bet on yourself, no one else will. No one else will invest their time, their money, their resources in you if you are not willing to invest in yourself first. That's what I call betting on ourselves. And investing financial resources into something that will help us create the future that we want or create the dream that we want is the first step. So I am a pioneer in training professional coaches, health professional in the non-diet approach because I'm an OG, an original gangster. I was there at the beginning and I've been doing it for 6 years, and I love sharing the power of our methodology, the Going to Beyond the Food method, because it's already like all the pieces are put together for you to have everything you need to help other people live their amazing life after diet culture. So this is an exclusive event. You won't see, don't wait for someone else to put up an event like this in our industry. Right now, this is it. So if you wanted to bring this into your life and help other people, this is the event where you want to sign yourself up to figure out if these next steps are for you. And inside the event, on day 4, I think, I'm going to walk you through another coaching principle called making a quality decision. I'm going to share 3 question that you need to ask yourself to know if taking the next step is for you. And then you can use these exact 3 questions, these coaching questions, with your client or with your future client to help them make a decision to see if working with you is the right step. I'm inviting you to join us. There's a link somewhere around this video in the show note of the podcast to join. And then we're going to spend 5 days together, November 7th to the 11th. Very excited to meet many of you live and put a face and a name on all my listeners. And until then, until I can see you live on this event, know that I love you. I appreciate you listening to the podcast. And I'll see you in the next episode. If you are loving what you're learning on the podcast, you have to come and check out Undiet Your Life. This is where we get to hang out together, where you get the individual help applying the concept thought on the podcast while learning new coaching tools that will make your life even more amazing. It's also where you get to apply the learning to think better, eat better, and feel better, and create your undieted life, your better, bigger, and bolder life. Go to stephaniedodier.com/join. I'd love to have you join us inside of Undiet Your Life, and I'll see you on the other side.